Many years ago, when I was still a massage therapist, I was taking a new training called neuromuscular therapy, which was very involved. You really needed to know where the attachments were, or the ligaments, or where they all came together. So you worked deeply into specific areas. And during that training, we were learning all these specifics. And at some point, I didn't understand what he was doing or something like that. So I asked him, I said, I'm not quite following you. So he just showed me again, and until I got it, and I was satisfied. So then we came to the lunch break and we all went down to get our lunch. And then one of the participants in the workshop, she says to me, "Wow, you're really brave. You admitted that you didn't know." And she says, "I would never do that." And it really startled me. Maybe it's because I grew up in Denmark that we don't have those issues, that it's not okay to not know something. I'm not sure, but it really made me think. And there were actually others because we were in the elevator, so there were other ones in there too, and they also kind of nodded. So it was a little bit of a funny shift in my brain that it was not okay for some people to admit that they don't know, that they don't understand something. And it's funny because this is many, many years ago, and I kind of still remember it. So today I want to do a little bit of a follow-up of another video I did some days ago where I did talk about not knowing. And in this context, it's kind of taking it to our inner knowing that knows, while the outer knowing, the mind, may not know. And if you, for some reason, don't feel okay about not knowing, and even have that in your relationship with the divine, it's very easy to put up a block to receive the guidance and the wisdom that you need. If you're somebody who thinks you need to know it all yourself, and it's shameful maybe to not know, or it's embarrassing, then I want to just invite you today to kind of reconsider that. And I do know that in our society, there is some kind of an expectation that we need to know everything. And many people, they talk as if they know what they're talking about. And you probably have noticed, like, they're just talking and they don't really know what they're talking about. But there's kind of maybe a pride in thinking that you know something. But the the powerful part about not knowing when it relates to the divine, to spirituality, is actually that if you want to enter into the mystery of who you are, you do have to let go of the mind that thinks it knows everything, or wants to know everything, or likes to pretend it knows everything. So if we get stuck in that paradigm, we're not able to open up to the mystery. And of course, a mystery is a mystery because we do not know what it is. And that is the approach that we need to take if we want to turn our attention in and make ourselves available for the flow, for the divine expression that we are, that lives inside of us as our own true identity. It's not separate from who we are, although it seems separate because we think we know who we are as a separate identity. In my case, that would be Pernilla. And we have to let that go, even if it's just for a short moment, and just admit that I don't know. I don't know what the divine is. I don't know what the mystery is. I don't know how the divine functions in my life or in all of life. So it is a letting go of what we think we know. And I'm not saying we don't know a lot of things that are very beneficial, but it's taken it to a deeper level where we admit to our true self that, I really don't know who or what I am. And when I say it that way, I am, it is to come to your true nature, your true essence as an open question. Because your mind cannot know who you are, who I am. It's impossible. Once the mind takes a little break, at least, then you're in this space where you don't know. And that can be very uncomfortable for many people in the beginning, but it is worth maybe meeting that discomfort and just go to God, go to the divine, and say, I don't know anything. Show me. Show me what I am. Show me who I am. And then you just let yourself sit in that not knowing. It's kind of a space that is empty, right? There's no clutter from the mind, from things you may have read or heard others say, even something that spiritual teachers that you revere and maybe follow that they have said, but it's still a knowing up here. So we don't want to walk around as these little parrots parroting what gurus and spiritual teachers say, because it's all in the mind. We want to take it to the place where it can reveal itself to us and let us know what it is, but it is really what I am, not Pernilla, but the I that lives in every one of us. And then we just want to sit there in the silence with an open, receptive attitude. Really, like, you can almost feel it, right? When I do this, like, I don't know, but in that I open up. I kind of become a receptive vessel to receive it. And what comes is very different. It can be different from time to time. Sometimes there may not be anything that comes to you that is something you recognize or will say, like, oh. And so we may need to do that often. Make it a practice to make yourself available for the divine to let you know what the mystery is, what the mystery is that you are. And then at some point, you'll start feeling there's something that shifts. It's usually a sense of relaxation or a deep breath, a click. I remember Joe Goldsmith, who is the one that I really started my spiritual journey with. He would often talk about a click, and it's like, or an aha. There's this, oh. And you can't really describe it with your mind, but you can sense it in your soul sense, because it's your soul, if there is that word, whatever that means. It's like your deeper aspect, your soul sense that starts speaking to you. It can be in words. There is this term called the still small voice from the Bible, which some people hear. I have only heard it a few times. darn it, because it's amazing when it comes through. It comes with something shifts in your life. But it doesn't happen to everyone or every time, but there's different things that will show up that you will recognize as something. And usually it can start with just kind of something lets go. Something just can relax. And then you become more receptive, and then more of it can start coming through. So it is a very sweet practice to just own or admit that you don't know, and then just be open to being shown. I actually wrote a whole chapter in my book called Imagine Being Kind to Yourself about not knowing, because I realized it's a big thing for most of us to admit that we don't know. And in that book, I talk or I write about to let yourself have the experience of not knowing. So, what I mean by that is normally when we don't know something, we try to know something. It's almost like, oh, it's not okay to not know. So, I'm just going to my mind to find something that I know. So I won't be in that space where I don't know because, that's embarrassing or stupid or whatever. But it really is not. It is a very beautiful place to be. And when you are able to give yourself the experience of and curiosity to just feel like, what is it like to not know? How does my body experience that? And you will have your own experience of that. For me, it's like when I don't know, I just feel very open because there's nothing in me grasping for something to know or trying to remember something. I just feel open, and it's a very pleasant experience. But I also know that knowing and not knowing, it's kind of like day and night. One will follow the other. Or, yeah, it's like a wave that's like, oh, now I know, and now I don't know. And if we are attached to knowing, we never really get to experience that place where we don't know. And it's just as real and true as knowing is. So if you can kind of give yourself permission to just experience when you don't know and just feel what that is like. And then you'll experience also that it is safe. There's nothing to be ashamed about. It's like there is a vacuum where you can wait for knowing to come. Not necessarily from the mind, but from the deeper place of knowing, which we can call your soul sense. I believe I also have a little audio on that, a little meditation that I can put in the description below if you're interested. So I wish you a beautiful day today, and hopefully with a conscious, willing, curious experience of when you don't know. You can play with it. It could even be, do I want to eat this or do I want to eat that? And you may say, I just don't know. So then don't try and know what you want to eat right now, but just like, I just don't know. And then you have an opportunity to just maybe get a whole new experience of what it means to not know. Thank you.